What's going on, everybody? This is Raw Dog Sports. I am Mike. That is Evo, fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. And we have got a banger, super wild card weekend show for you. I know the NFL doesn't call it that anymore, but I will never fucking stop. It's super wild card weekend. My man, Evo, how you doing? I know we got like a new name for this shit now. They actually stopped using it, I think, a couple of years ago, but I can't move past. It's super because we got some banger matchups. We got one that potentially blowout, or at least that's the way the lines look as we kind of peek forward. Some of these games, though, should be really, really close matchups. That's what we should hope for in the playoffs. My man, Evo, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm glad that you don't want to get rid of old school terms. I know that you still like using the R word. I know that you still like calling different genders certain things. It's wild, and that's why we stick with wild card, super wild card weekend. I get it. We're very classical gentlemen here on this show. Obviously completely tone deaf, and and that's how we like to do it on Raw Dog Sports. I'm happy to be here. Happy it's super wild card weekend. It was a weird week. It felt like a weird week because we didn't have Monday Night Football. We didn't have Thursday Night Football. We had two really good games in college football for the semifinals. One, an absolute fucking blowout last night. And Thursday's game, very close down to the wire. Very interesting. A lot of NFL draft implications and whatnot going on in there. So those were fun to watch, but it still felt a little bit more hollow because we're getting down to the doldrums of the NFL season where we don't get this kind of spread of games throughout the week where you only have to wait a couple days to see some NFL football like normal. Now we have to wait a full week essentially to watch some NFL football. And that was kind of sad. It kind of made me feel a little hollow and sad at home, but it did give me a little bit of time, not to focus on family or anything like that, to look into college prospects, which is a big deal for us right now. We both have our teams out of the playoffs. So, of course, we can start to shift some of our personal focus for our teams towards college football and draft prospects and things like that. But, Mike, we've got a little bit more impetus to look towards these college players right now. And I think maybe it's time for us to let the people know for sure. We've hinted at this a couple times. We've talked about it, but the plan is in action. We've got a little bit of an announcement here for Raw Dog Sports.
Yeah, the plan is not only the plan's fucking happening because I just got confirmation, was it yesterday or 2 days ago now? We got the Airbnb. We will be down in Mobile for the fucking Panini Senior Bowl. We're going to be down there. I'm going to bring mics, cameras. We're going to do a bunch of content. We're going to get eyes on these guys out at the fucking Senior Bowl practices. If you're not aware, they're all open, free. There's going to be a ton of events, ton of activities. I'm very, very excited to go down there and experience, because it's going to be NFL coaches running these practices and seeing how they go through it. And obviously our hope is to be able to talk to some of these guys out there as well. But I'm fucking pumped, dude.
Yeah, this is a big step for the program, big step for us. Something personally that, we've always, I know I've always wanted to be a part of is getting to go to these pre-draft process type of things. The Panini Senior Bowl is one of those big first steps. Obviously, being able to go to a pro day or two or something like that would be really cool. The combine would be outstanding, but this is definitely like the first step in a road that we want to take here to bring you guys content for us as sports fans and fans of the NFL. The Senior Bowl is an awesome opportunity for us to get up close and personal with these prospects. Like you said, there's going to be NFL coaches out there on the field coaching these guys. There's going to obviously be tons of other news media out there that we can kind of rub elbows with and get close to, possibly talk to a little bit. Your ability to interact with the players and the personnel that are out there is much higher than in other spots, because there's certain things that go on, like players parades and stuff like that. The players get to come over the sidelines and things like that, because they're trying to put their best foot forward to get drafted as well, and talk to anybody and everybody, to tell about themselves and things like that. So we're hoping to have those opportunities. Also, you have in the stands and out there on the sidelines other NFL coaches, GM, scout, front office. This is where a lot of front office personnel are going to be in order to view some of these players. Obviously, it's not completely devoted to the front offices, because there are underclassmen who have still yet to declare for the draft, or who haven't been extended invites yet to the Senior Bowl. But there's other places that have to be scouted. But the Senior Bowl is one of those first spots where front offices start to come together, view players, and also they like to rub elbows and talk shop a little bit, and possibly start to work out frameworks for deals and things like that, if there's going to be trades and whatnot. We're going to be out there trying to rub elbows with that. We're going to try to great. We're going to try to see if we can't talk to some people, get some cool interviews, get our name out there a little bit. But this is a cool opportunity for us, and I think it's a cool opportunity for everyone who watches our program as well. If there are players, prospects that you know are going to be out there that you want us to try to talk to, want us to get our eyes on and give you our thoughts on how they're performing out there, because we're going to be going live while we're out there. We're going to be doing shows while we're out there. We're going to be trying to bring you guys as much content as possible. This is a business trip as much as it is a fun trip for us, because we want to make sure that we are bringing you guys content. If we're not bringing you content, it's just a fun vacation for us, right? And also, we've got an announcement while we're out there. If you guys see us, we've got stuff for you.
Yes, we do. We got some pretty cool merch, man. I know that I've already got one, like a carabiner. I love a carabiner from a keychain. We got some bags. We got stickers. So if you guys see us out there, come say what's up and hit us up for some merch, because we'll have some on us. And we'll give it out. We ain't selling this shit. We just want you guys to rep our brand. So, man, I'm pumped to be out there, dude. It's going to be a long drive. I'm driving my ass all the way down from Ohio. So it's going to be a long trip, but man, the appeal of the entire weekend. If you go to their website, because if you're not aware, they have their website. The entire events are posted. There's panini tasting or competition or whatever the fuck that was. That looked pretty cool, because I'm a fat guy, so I like sandwiches.
I was like, well, dinner's taken care of. We got a panini eating competition thing where it's a cook-off, panini cook-off, because obviously Panini, a big brand for sports cards, memorabilia, stuff like that. They're the ones who sponsored the Senior Bowl. Used to be Reese's Senior Bowl. Now it's Panini. And because of the similar name, they have a panini company out there who is sponsoring a cook-off where 20 teams can compete, make paninis. There's judges and everything. Fans get to judge. We are going to be those fans judging, because after a long day of scouting players and watching guys under the Mobile sun, hopefully it's sunny, we're going to want to chow down on some paninis, because I do love a good hot flat squish sandwich.
Same. It's going to be a good time, man. I can't wait. And if you want any information on the Senior Bowl, you can go to www.seniorbowl.com. It'll have the list of people that have been invited and all the events. We will also be down there coming to you live and with all sorts of different types of content. Hopefully some interviews as well while we're there. But my man, should we start diving into like the aspect of the show where we start getting into some picks? Or because there's still some news. We don't have a ton of games. We've got some coaching news. We actually even have a GM hire for a team that we haven't gotten into yet since our last show.
Yeah, let's get into some of that stuff. Before we get into the games, which is what everyone's pretty much here for, I think. to get our thoughts on the games and our picks and whatnot. Let's get a couple of the normal pieces of business out of the way, some news events and stuff that have happened in the NFL. Obviously, we saw a Harbaugh brother go down, fired by Baltimore Ravens, and that coaching search start. They've already done some interviews with Stefanski, with Brian Flores is going to be happening. Some interviews there. It's going to be one of the hot commodity positions to go for. We haven't heard too much about Harbaugh as far as where he's going to be going to interview, because he said he's basically going to be taking a week. And I think that there is some reason behind that. There's a couple teams in this NFL playoffs that if they are out within this first week, they might have question marks about their coaching staff. The names that get brought up pretty commonly are Matt LaFleur with the Green Bay Packers and Sean McDermott with the Buffalo Bills. If those teams are one and done, if they're out, there's already been some ripples of like, maybe these guys can't take us the entire way. And so those teams might be considering making a move or reaching out to Harbaugh to see if he would be willing to be their head coach. So it's interesting that he even has said, I'm going to take a week, which the guy rightfully deserves. Take a week off from everything. Enjoy yourself. See if maybe you want to take a full year off, anything like that, but also give yourself more flexibility because you are the hottest commodity right now in the coaching market.
Absolutely. And now, I mean, that even goes up more. I don't know if you've seen the news from Schefter about an hour ago. So the Dolphins finalized an agreement with their new GM, John Eric Sullivan. And upon doing that, they have reached out to John Harbaugh to express interest, to let him know that, hey, they would love to bring him down there. And a lot of people, a lot of national media pundits have already started to make the connections of Harbaugh down to Miami. I don't know. Is that the most advantageous job right now with Tua under a massive contract? It feels like there are other opportunities elsewhere that Harbaugh would want to pick over going down to Miami with a quarterback that he may not love on a massive contract. Isn't it that possibly the situation he's coming from in Baltimore? Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but obviously Miami's going to do their due diligence and fucking reach out to John Harbaugh, as anybody who has a coaching vacancy should be doing.
Yeah, I think that, Stephen Ross down there likes to try to go after the big flashy moves. He wants to be like a Jerry Jones down in Miami and control things, maybe not as much, but he wants to throw his money around and try to get big names. Tua, like you brought up, $99.2 million dead cap hit if he is cut. Obviously, if he's traded, different situation to an extent, but who's going to be looking to trade for a guy that might have a bit of a locker room issue, hasn't been performing fantastic, and oh, by the way, at any point in time, he could die on the field because of concussions. Like he could not be on the field if you were to make a move for him. So it's probably really tough for these teams to consider trading for him. And it does make it a little bit of a disadvantageous situation down there in Miami because you don't have a fantastic roster. Your ownership group is questionable because they are part of that Brian Flores lawsuit, and they have done some questionable things in the past, like try to go after Brady and things like that have gotten the team in trouble. And the biggest appeal, other than the fact that it is Miami and big booty Latina bitches, which I don't know that John Harbaugh is necessarily
everybody loves big booty Latina bitches. All right, it doesn't matter. I promise
got the weather.
Go anywhere on TikTok and you will see a bunch of old white dudes going, "Oh, that looks good."
Yeah. Well, and also, there's things as far as taxes and stuff like that are appealing about Florida.
For
a little bit more of a retirement community. Allows them to go down there for that sort of situation. But I still think that there's probably better opportunities for Harbaugh, for sure. But I've been to Miami. I wouldn't know anything about big booty Latina bitches at all. I'm a very happily married man with my own big booty lady. But I hear things, we hear things about Miami. Either way, they obviously, I think when they heard that Harbaugh was fired, they reacted quick to fire their head coach. But yes, they did bring in a Packers assistant in the front office down there, someone who's actually got a pretty good reputation within the league as being a good guy, a good candidate for a head or a GM spot. What's interesting is there has been some, and this is unsubstantiated rumors out there about kind of demands that Harbaugh would probably be looking for. I believe it was uh, 20 mil a year head coaching paycheck, 10 mil a year to go to other coaches, and that he would want full roster control.
Are we sure though? Because the person,
it's all unsubstantiated.
Exactly. The person that reported this and the person that is being cited as the fucking source everywhere is Tony Grossi. I don't know that Tony knows that information. Anybody that knows Tony knows that Tony is prone to just say shit. So Tony talked to an insider who he can't name, who apparently said that these are the demands. We have no fucking idea if that's actually true. And I don't necessarily trust Tony Grossi enough to go with that report.
That being said, what he's saying isn't outlandish, because these are things that I would fully expect. I would want Harbaugh to, again, I kind of said this last time, he's the one interviewing the team and the ownership rather than them interviewing him. He gets his choice and he gets to decide what the best spot is for him. Wanting a $20 million a year contract makes sense for a guy of his caliber. Looking for $10 million for his staff every year makes sense. So that way he can go out there and get the best guys possible. Roster control, things like that. Those are pretty typical things. One of the other kind of reports was that he wanted to either bring in his own GM or have control over that GM. The fact that Miami did end up hiring a GM kind of hedges their bets. Now, this guy might have, some relationship with him or something like that. It might be someone that they know that Harbaugh is comfortable with, or is on his short list of people that he would want there as a GM, because he does need someone who can work the contracts, work the phones, things like that. It's just an interesting thing to kind of watch going forward. Obviously, the odds-on favorites right now for Harbaugh are, I believe, New York with the Giants is his top expected landing spot. But we'll see. Lots of movement and action potentially happening there. With your head coaching search there in Cleveland, who have you guys talked to so far? Who out of that group kind of excites you, or would you be okay with?
We've talked to in-house people. Tommy Reese, talked to Schwartz. Honestly, man, I
believe the Bengals offensive coordinator or something like that.
Yeah, pitcher. None of it really excites me at the moment. Like, keeping Schwartz is the most exciting thing out of the people that we have interviewed. That's
now that you've done an interview with him for the head coach spot, though, I know that some of the talks have been like, hey, maybe we keep him on as a DC. I think that's off the table now.
Maybe it might be. It would depend on I think who they bring in as the head coach. I think it's entirely possible that we could retain him if we brought in somebody like a Harbaugh. If we could find a way to land Harbaugh, maybe he would be like, okay, this guy obviously knows how to fucking coach. He's going to get me paid. He just requested a bunch of money, apparently, right? Why would you not want to stay with a proven head coach on a ready-made defense while you try to figure out the offense? That would be a really good idea for Schwartz, but you'd have to have a really good head coach to come in and to keep him around. So while I agree with you that if we don't hire him as head coach, we could lose him, I think it's very much dependent on who they end up hiring as the fucking head coach. Like, because if it's somebody who he would consider beneath him or a lower status, he would probably want to leave. Egos are going to be involved in this fucking conversation, especially when you're talking about one of 32 jobs.
Yeah, interesting. One hire that has been made, Washington Commanders went out and hired David Blah as their offensive coordinator. He's a former quarterback in the league, been a backup at a bunch of different spots, most notably in Detroit. I was with my Vikings for a little bit. I believe the Cardinals for a short spell. I believe his wife is more famous because she's an Olympic athlete as well, or some sort of another athlete or something like that. Either way, a guy that was never physically gifted, never going to crack the roster as a starter. I believe he has had to start some games, especially up there in Detroit because of injuries, things like that. But apparently he's a rising kind of guy in the past couple of years since he's been out of the league as far as a coaching assistant. He's been hired as that new offensive coordinator up there in Washington, which is very interesting. Apparently he was also being looked at by the Lions for their offensive coordinator position because of familiarity with Dan Campbell and everything. So one hire there. I think it's not very splashy, but obviously the league has been trending towards hiring these former players relatively quick and getting them into higher positions. So blogging that spot there is kind of interesting to watch.
And you bring up his wife. She is an athlete. She is a track athlete, runs the 400-meter hurdles. And on the 4x4 team, her name is Melissa Gonzalez. Another hiring, not necessarily super football related, but could be. Matt Ryan gets a job inside the Falcons organization as the president of football. I mean, Matt going out of the booth back into the organization. I think he's going to enjoy it. I think he missed football. He probably wanted to continue to play, but that was past him. I mean, he kind of toyed with retirement for a little while. And so I think it'll be cool. And obviously he knows the culture. He is very familiar with everybody in the organization. Hopefully he can kind of steer them in the right direction, get some more football people and get that shit going the right way.
There's definitely a big benefit to hiring a guy like a Matt Ryan. Obviously comes from Boston College, smart dude, well-educated, been a leader for years and years on the football field, and probably has the capacity to move that into a little bit more of a managerial type position. But what the big benefit is here is that you got a guy who is not beholden by money whatsoever, and what his future job prospects look like in this field. It probably doesn't really matter to him. Of course, he wants to succeed. He wants to win. He wants to do better for himself. But at the end of the day, when you look at normal presidents, GMs, head coaches, even, they are not just looking towards, hey, I want to put the most successful team on the field. They want to promote themselves. They want to keep their jobs, because head coaching jobs, GM jobs, front office jobs, they are not for long. That's the NFL. We move on from these guys very quickly. 6 years is a lifetime in most of these positions. For him, if things don't go well and you fire me, oh, well, I'll just go back to broadcasting. Oh, by the way, I've made handfuls upon handfuls of millions of dollars playing this game. Yeah. He is going into an organization that he is very tied to. He is invested in them winning and putting the best product on the field and not worried about personalities, egos, things like that as much. He's more concerned with putting the best football team on the field for the short term and the long term. And that's the problem, is a lot of times head coaches, GMs aren't looking for the long term. If you look at the GMs that are on hot seats, they will get a little more loosey-goosey with trading their picks, being aggressive in the draft, things like that, trying to require players to have a 1-year bump to save their jobs. That's not good for the long-term future of the team. If you have a guy like Matt Ryan in as the president, he's going to have more of a stable voice that is looking at the long term as well as that short term. That's why guys like terrible Terry Fontenot no longer has a job there in Atlanta, because he got loosey-goosey with those fucking picks in the last year. And now, remind me where Atlanta's drafting in the first round? They're not. They're not drafting because they traded their first round pick this year in order to move back to try to aggressively get more pass rush help to try to save that job for terrible Terry Fontenot. Didn't work. So having a cool, calm, collected voice like a Matt Ryan up there who can kind of have that above view of the whole operations, probably a smart thing.
I absolutely agree. And if he does lose his job, he goes back to broadcasting. You brought it up. He's made generational, like multi-generational wealth probably from just playing. And it reminded me that we haven't heard from our friend Sleeves in quite a while. And I have a question for him that I think he could probably answer for us pretty quick. Hey, Sleeves, it's Mike. Can you hear me?
Barely hear him. Sounds like he's in the room, maybe under the table, Mike. What have you been having Sleeves do to you while he's been off the show?
Oh, no. Sleeves, you stop talking. All right, Sleeves, can you hear me now?
It just sounds like he's under the table again. Boy, we got a real White House Bill Clinton situation going on here.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened. Hey, Sleeves, how much money has Matt Ryan made in his career as a football player? That's what happens when. Cool. 306 million. I don't know if anybody else can fucking hear it.
Nope. Just the vibrations up through.
I don't know what happened and why the fucking it doesn't work anymore, or it did but doesn't. I don't know. Fuck it. 306 million. Anyways, let's move off of that. Fucking Sleeves. This is why we don't call his ass ever.
That's why he's been relegated underneath your desk there.
That's right.
Yeah, he's made plenty of money. Doesn't have to worry about that. You don't have that financial incentive to try to keep your job. So good hire there for the Falcons. A move in the right direction for them in a franchise that we felt like, especially in the front office, has been failing this team for a while. So good on them.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we're about almost half an hour in. Are we ready to start talking about some of these games? Since we got a couple games coming up, producer Amber's going to have to cut a couple of clips for us, so we should at least get to these Saturday games so we can get the people their bets.
Absolutely, for sure. So we got our first game up today. The LA Rams going into Carolina versus the Panthers. This game has the largest spread of the entire weekend. Panthers getting 10.5 points at home, minus 115 odds, over under a 45.5 for this game. The Rams, obviously the heavy favorites here. Looks like it's going to be possibly a little bit rainy out there. Good temperature, but a little bit rainy. I'm not sure if it was that way for their first game when the Rams went out to Carolina and lost to the Panthers this year. But we are looking at having a little bit of weather be involved with this game. I don't think that there's any question about who the better team is here. Obviously, with that sort of a line from Vegas, we know that the Rams are believed to be the better team here. Do the Panthers have any sort of shot of keeping this one close? Or is that 10.5 number spicy enough for us to take with our picks? Because look, the Panthers have beaten teams that they shouldn't. They've kept it close with teams that they shouldn't. It's what helped get them into this playoff race, but also they are a team that went into the playoffs with a losing record.
Yeah, so obviously they're not a very good football team. The Rams are a much better team. They've shown it all year, except for when they played each other. Now, the travel from LA to Carolina is fucking far. It's all the way across the country. But this is now the second time they've done this exact same trip with the Rams. Anything that caught them up on the first time, they're going to know what to do and what to deal with on the second time. They're just going to have to go out there and play football. So I think that the Rams, being a far superior team, should win this game. Now, I just got a text. I had to decide in my football pool if I was still good with taking the Rams at minus 10.5. On my bets here that I already made, I took the Rams on the money line. But I am good with still taking the Rams at 10.5 for this pool. Because I really don't think that the Panthers are going to show up. The Rams were embarrassed, essentially, when they went out there last time. Everybody expected them to beat the shit out of the Panthers. And they kind of just didn't show up. They expected to beat the Panthers. This time, the Panthers are not going to surprise the Rams. The Rams will come out and win this game. I would be comfortable with money line or minus 10.5. On my actual bet slip, I have money line, so that's what I will go with for the show.
All right. LA Rams on the money line. And I'm going to be doing the same here. Now, if you want to feel frisky enough to take the 10.5, I'm actually okay with that. I'm comfortable. Look, at the end of the year, the Rams have had kind of a bad run. They drop one to the Seahawks late in the game. That was a really good game. They drop one to the Falcons where Matt Stafford had just a egregious amount of turnovers. And then their final week without Devontae Adams, they win versus the Cardinals 37-20. That game was a lot closer than it should have been. But if we take a look back at this game versus the Panthers that they played previously, Panthers won 31-28, and it was another one of those games where we saw a odd amount of turnovers from Matt Stafford, 2 interceptions and a lost fumble in this game. It was one of the breakout games for Blake Corum where he actually outrushed Kyren Williams by about 9 yards. So if the Panthers are able to achieve getting these turnovers on Matthew Stafford, that changes the whole situation. Any of these times that Matt Stafford has not looked like he's looked for the entire year and he has these cluster turnovers, it's a problem for this Rams team. And that's the key to success for this Panthers squad. The fact that the Rams are going back out there with Devontae Adams, having knowledge of this team, having knowledge of played out there and being embarrassed by them, I do like the Rams to win. Could it be closer? Absolutely. If the rain does cause the balls to become a little bit more errant or anything like that, and we start to see some turnovers from Matt Stafford, that's where it gets a little bit scary. That being said, the safest play here is the Rams on the money line. I'm going to be going with that one for my pick as well.
All right. Rams on the money line for both of us. We'll head into the second game on Saturday. Excuse me. We got the Packers going down to Chicago. Bears, home dogs in the playoffs, minus 1.5 over under 44.5. Now, this is a very interesting game. Obviously, these two teams are very familiar with each other. They meet 2 times a year. They've been fairly competitive games this season. Weather in this game is not good, but better than it was supposed to be. So I think that's why we're starting to see that over-under come up a little bit more. I think that's come up a couple of points since the weather has been updated. So where are you going in this one, man? Because 1.5 feels like if you like the Bears, you just go Bears money line. Where are you at?
I guess real quick counter question to you. Did you see the Packers fan music video that was put out?
I have not.
Well, if you jump onto the X machine at any point in time and you check my profile, of course I shared it and I immediately said, oh my God, the Packers are fucking cooked. Absolutely cooked. Because when you have that sort of a display with the production value put in everything, it's not good. And I don't like rooting for an NFC North team, but if there's one that I want to root for to lose, it's the fucking Packers. So there's a little bit of heart in this, but I have to use my brain as well. I like the Bears plus the points in this one. I'm seriously, though, that's not necessarily my pick yet. I haven't decided because I do still like the under. It is going to be close to single-digit numbers out there with wind chill involved. Windy, cold day in Chicago. And obviously a tough place to play with that Bears crowd. You did say that both these games that they've played this year have been relatively close, kind of come down to the end. The most recent winner was the Bears versus the Packers at home, 22-16. That game kind of came down to the end. I think that this is a spot for Jordan Love to again show he is not clutch. He hasn't played in several weeks due to the concussion. You don't have the top starting quarterback out there for this Packers team, Malik Willis, playing. I think that it spells an issue here for this Packers team. I think it is going to be close. It's going to come down to the end, but I do like the Bears to win it. That being said, I'm going with the under. I still think that the weather game, the situation, it's not going to get loose. This is Ben Johnson's chance to, at the end of the game, again, kind of start to pull out some of his magic playbook which we've seen a little bit this year, not nearly as much as we've seen with the Detroit Lions. But we know that Ben Johnson has stuff dialed up in that playbook from when he was with the Lions, trick plays, things like that to confuse teams. And I expect him to start to pull a lot more of that out here in the playoffs. That being said, the over-under for this game is 44.5, despite not really being a snow game anymore. I still like the under in this one. So I'll take under 44.5. Also, I like the Bears to win as a side bet.
All right. So listen, I do like the under as well, especially now that the points have come up. But I'm not betting that. I'm taking the Bears on the money line, dog, plus 110 odds. Listen, the Packers are without their best defensive weapon off the edge. They're without their best pass catching weapon. They're playing in a weather game where their quarterback is not nearly as mobile as you would like, but you have another guy who backs him up who is not playing in this game, as you brought up. I think it's going to be really tough for them to generate any type of offense. I also like the under here because this Bears defense is really fucking good. They're going to turn Jordan Love over. If there's a guy that you can turn over, it's Jordan Love. And you know who's the best in the NFL at generating turnovers? The Bears' goddamn defense.
I'm not going to lie. I did look for Jordan Love interceptions on FanDuel. Wasn't able to find it. But if I could get 1+ interceptions, I would fucking hammer that one.
Yeah. Give me the fucking Bears on the money line for plus 110 odds, man.
All righty. Very nice. Next up, we move into our Sunday games. We got the Buffalo Bills at the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. Very interesting matchup. Jacksonville has been on, I believe, an 8-game winning streak right now. Trevor Lawrence is starting to really look the spot. They have beat teams that, at least at the time, were viewed as very good at home in Jacksonville. Looking at you, Kansas City Chiefs, when you still had your quarterback and the shine of being such a good team. That went out the window this year. But it was still a competitive game down there in Jacksonville. The Jags are favored -1.5 points at home, -104 odds, over under a 51.5. Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen not going in 100%, a little bit of an injury. But this is a much closer matchup than I think most people would have expected. If we had said the Jags versus the Bills first round of the playoffs, people would have said that's weird that the Bills didn't get the number 1 overall seed. Or they'd say, well, Jacksonville must have backdoored their way into the playoffs because they're not a very good team. This is just like the NFC South. They just kind of got in there as a wild card team. Not necessarily the case. Both of these teams have kind of flipped the script. The Bills have had a down year. Jags have had a really good year. Mike, are you willing to look at this Jaguars team and think that they can beat the Buffalo Bills in what could be their best shot without a Lamar Jackson, without a Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs? Is this the Bills' last chance for their window? Are they good enough to go up against this Jags team down in Jacksonville?
Okay, so there's a lot of questions in there. Some of them I think are ridiculous that we even are having the conversation. The window, no, it's not closed. That team is always going to have a shot with Josh Allen. They just re-signed James Cook. The salary cap is going up. All they have to do is draft well. They have to find a way to get a good number 1 receiver to help Josh Allen. That will help this entire situation. So if they continue to draft well, no, the window doesn't close. The window never closed with fucking Tom Brady, and it doesn't close with Pat Mahomes unless he's fucking hurt. Like, the window doesn't close just randomly when you have one of these superior fucking quarterbacks. And Josh Allen is that guy. Now, the idea that they won't have to readjust. No, I think that's crazy. All teams have to do that. Like, you very rarely see dynasties. Can they beat the Jags? Of course they can beat the fucking Jags. What are we talking about, man? Listen, I don't know if you remember the last time that Trevor Lawrence was in the playoffs, but they were up. And then they fucking pissed it away. I do not trust Trevor Lawrence until I see it in the playoffs. I have seen Josh Allen do Josh Allen things, do crazy superhuman Superman shit in the regular season and in the postseason. So until I see with my own two fucking eyes that Trevor Lawrence can do it in the postseason, I'm not going to believe it. Give me the Bills minus 1.5 because I get even money odds there.
All right, Buffalo minus 1.5. I think the Jags can beat them. I do.
Sure. I mean, the Jags are a much improved team from where they have been. Absolutely.
Playing at home, Jacksonville is going to be raucous. Again, pretty solid defense. That offense has been humming. The Bills, they need to get the run game going. That's been their key to success. You do bring up Josh Allen is Superman, and he does the wildest shit to put a team on his back, especially in the playoffs. That's why in this game, I'm going to go with the over 51.5. Both these offenses have capability of putting up a lot of points. If we just looked at if the over-under was 50 in this game, each of them putting up 25 points, I think this is going to be like a 27-31 type game that makes the over hit. Real quick, I don't know if Sleeves can, offer your ding dong there. What is the weather looking like in this game? What are we expected to see here? As of right now, I'm seeing that's going to be 65, sunny, nice day there in Jacksonville. So we're not going to be having a weather effect in this one.
Do you want me to ask him? Because if I do, he's going to fucking sound like a dickhead again.
No, you don't have to.
What's wrong with him right now?
You don't have to. I just didn't know if he could whisper gently in your ear and then kiss you on the side of the neck to let you know. But I'm going to go with the over in this game. I think that this one gets loose. I think that there's a lot of scoring in this game. So give me the over of 51.5. A couple over-unders in the playoffs for me already. It's a little bit of a scary thing.
Yeah, I stay away from them because I suck at them. I'm going to try, because I just turned up my headphones, which I think might make it happen. We'll see. What the fuck am I asking, Sleeves, again?
The weather in Jacksonville for on Sunday.
Hey, Sleeves, what's the weather going to be like for the Jags game on Sunday?
You can expect mostly sunny skies and temperatures around 57 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit by game time. It should be pretty comfortable, and there aren't any weather issues expected, so it looks like a great day for football.
Thanks, Sleeves.
There we go.
I don't know why it's not routing through. I'm going to have to figure out where the connection fucking got messed up again.
Yeah. And pulled up AccuWeather here. Same thing. We're seeing light winds, maybe around 8 to 9 miles an hour. Pretty nice temperatures. So should be good for this game.
Yeah. Man.
My side bet in this one, though, is that Jacksonville wins. I'm going with the over. I think Jacksonville might win.
I hope that you're wrong. I would love to see a fucking shootout, though. I love high-scoring playoff football, man.
Yeah.
I like defensive football is cool, but in the playoffs, give me some fucking points.
That's part of the beauty of picking the over-unders here is that while I'm not super invested in any of these teams other than Green Bay, fuck Green Bay. Also, shout out to producer Amber. There is a Jordan Love interception, yes, minus 108 odds on FanDuel. Go ahead and hit that one if you want to add that to a parlay. But I like the over-under in the playoffs because then it allows me to just enjoy the game and not necessarily one team or the other and just hope for good football. So I'll go with that over in this one.
I hear it.
But that brings us to our next game. Lead us into this one, Mike.
All right, man. We got the 49ers going out to Philly. Philly is the favorite, minus 5.5, over under 44.5. This is a interesting matchup. We got two strengths, I feel like, going against each other. Styles make fights. So this game could be really, really fun, or this could be the game that's an absolute fucking snooze fest. If we get good defenses that show up, we have seen both of these offenses be slowed especially over the last couple of weeks in the 49ers. And we also have seen that throughout the season with the Eagles. So 44.5 feels very low, like that Packers Bears kind of line. Where are you going in this one? Do you like points again? Are you thinking that maybe we get an upset? Because listen, the 49ers have been very good all year.
The 49ers have been good, but they have played one of the easiest schedules of the entire year. I have been down on this Philly team because they play everyone close. This over-under does feel relatively close to kind of what I expect this to be. Now, this Philly team does have a lot of experience right now with playing in the playoffs and making it all the way. Not that San Fran necessarily doesn't, but they are just a very injured team, played on a soft schedule this year. I do like them. I do think that this game can stay close. I'm going to take the 49ers plus the points in this one, but I'm not convinced that one team or the other is necessarily going to win, which is why I like taking the points, because I think that this game could be closer, not very explosive offensively. If one team is going to explode offensively, there's plenty of talent on both sides, but the 49ers have been the team to show that they can kind of do it a little bit more. I know sometimes you say they can play a boring brand of football, but I think that with Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Trent Williams expected to be out there despite being questionable for this game. I think that the 49ers will keep it close within that number. So I'll take the 49ers plus the 5.5.
I'm actually going to follow you, man, because I like the idea of possibly the 49ers winning. So 5.5 seems great, because I don't know, even if the 49ers lose, are the Eagles a touchdown better? Man, I don't know, because either one of these teams can control the football. So if they need to slow this thing down, or if this thing does get slowed down with, by their rushing attacks, I think taking the points feels a lot better. This feels like it could be very close the entire way. So give me the points as well. 49ers plus 5.5. I don't know that they will be able to upset them, but obviously they have been fairly good all season long. And we've seen the Eagles have some major chinks in the armor.
Yeah. All right. Next up, LA Chargers versus the New England Patriots out there in Foxborough. The Patriots are favored minus 3.5 points with an over-under of 45.5. Justin Herbert is going to be playing. We aren't going to see another prolific day from the backup quarterback there for Los Angeles. Omarion Hampton, questionable, hopeful to play in this one with the ankle injury, but I think that's a big part of their offense is whether or not he's going to be out there. Yes, Kamani Vidal can do some good things, but we are still talking about a Chargers offensive line that is beat up, ragtag, and it's a Patriots team that has been riding high, also with an easier schedule for sure this year, but they have been playing a pretty solid brand of football. It is playoff time. Stephon Diggs plays good in prime time and playoffs, so expect him to kind of be out there doing good things. And that's why the Patriots are favored at home. They're getting a little bit more than just the home field boost of the 1.5 to 2 points. They're favored minus 3.5 points. So, Mike, do you think that the Chargers are going to have enough gusto to go here into Foxborough and win this game?
I don't think that they can win this game, no. 3.5 is intriguing because maybe they can keep it close. But when you look at the injuries that have piled up for the Chargers and how well this Patriots team has played and how well they're coached and how it feels like they have fairly decent depth just because they're so well coached. It's not that they're necessarily great depth, but they don't make these critical mistakes unless they're playing against Josh Allen, who does superhuman shit. So we're going to have to see Herbert do some superhuman shit for them to pull this off. And I just don't know if they're going to have enough time, if their tackles will give them enough time to make some of those things happen. I'm going to take the Patriots on the money line. 3.5 is intriguing if you think they can keep it close, because that hook, I mean, obviously is the selling point, but I'm going to take the easier one here and go Patriots on the money line.
Yeah, I like the Patriots in this one as well. I'm also doing Patriots on the money line. New England Patriots, it's been a little while since they've been relevant in the playoffs, but we know that the people out there in in the Boston area, they haven't forgotten how to root for and boost up a team in the playoffs. They've got a dynasty that they've backed for years and years. They're going to be out there in full force again. And I like the way that Vrabel's been coaching this team. I like this New England team. I don't know if they have everything it takes to go all the way, but this is definitely a first step if they're able to beat this Chargers team, who is coming in a little bit hurt, a little bit rattled. They've dropped 2 games recently. Of course, they were playing backups last week, but still, I think that the Patriots can put up enough to win this game, so I'm going with them on the money line.
All right. And then on to our last one. You got it, my man?
Yeah, let's
But actually, before we break this game down, I'm going to have 30 seconds to get on a fucking soapbox right here. There is no fucking reason we should have a goddamn Monday night playoff game if we don't have a Monday night week 18 game. What the fuck sense does it make to fuck somebody over in the playoffs and have them play on Monday night, but you wouldn't do it in week 18? Make that make fucking sense, NFL. I hate the fact that there's a Monday game in the playoffs. Now, I fuck the Steelers. But if I were the Texans fans, I'd be pissed because you're going to lose a day. You're going to have a short week in the playoffs. That's bullshit. I relinquish the floor.
As a fan who just had a diatribe earlier about being a little bit sad and down in the dumps about not having the spread out of football games, I enjoy having the Monday game because I get more football spread out across my nights. That being said, I completely agree with you that when we're talking about the playoffs and the competitive nature of it, that we want the most even playing field as possible outside of those number 1 teams who do get a bye regardless. You want the most even playing field for practice, for health, things like that. So I completely get that. That being said, for this game, we had the Houston Texans, the number 1 rated defense in the league, going up to Pittsburgh versus the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers, the return of DK Metcalf. It is the number 1 defense, I believe, going up against like the number 22, number 23 offense. That is the story of the game for me. The Houston Texans offense obviously has its issues, doesn't have much of a run game, but that Pittsburgh Steelers defense also is aged. They are not formidable like they have been in the past. The Steelers at home are getting 3 points at -115 odds, over under of 38.5. Looking at this game, the weather is expected to just be chilly, right around 35 degrees for this game. So we're not going to see any sort of crazy inclement weather. Steelers eke their way into the playoffs based off of a missed Tyler Luke field goal. One that most other really good kickers, I think, probably would have been able to make. And maybe Tyler failed in that situation. Doesn't really matter. The Steelers do make it in. They backdoor their way in, but they are going up against that number 1 defense of the Houston Texans. Over under of 38.5 in this game, expected to be a little bit lower scoring. Do you expect Aaron Rodgers to kind of pull out his late season theatrics and magic of being back in the playoffs? Where are you going in this one? I feel like I already know because you hate the Steelers just as much as I basically hate the Packers. What are your thoughts on this one, Mike?
Fuck the Steelers. Will continue to be the theme of today's show. Listen, the matchup to watch is Stingley versus Metcalf. Outside of that, I have no idea how they're going to fucking generate offense if you're the Steelers. That defense is insane. They can press. They can pressure with 4. They are going to be all over the Steelers team. Aaron is good at throwing it at the line of scrimmage and throwing go balls. I think Garrett Stingley is going to be all over DK Metcalf, but I think that there's a chance that if you give him enough opportunities, DK Metcalf is going to get one of them. But how else are they going to generate offense? I honestly, if you look at this over under, it almost feels like Vegas is like, okay, so we're going to expect 31 points out of the Texans because maybe because 38.5 is a crazy low over under, right? There's no crazy weather. It's just a really good defense and a terrible offense. I'm taking the Texans and I'm dropping the points. -3. Yeah. Give me that. Give me that -3.
Well, you bring up that over under, and I think my justification for where I'm going with this game kind of explains it a little bit. And we don't have to look that far away. We look at week 17 when the Steelers played your Cleveland Browns. That game finished 13-6. Now, there was no DK Metcalf in this game, and I do think that the Steelers will be able to put up a little bit more passing offense with DK there. I think that they're probably going to try to force feed him the ball. He's angry, ready to knock out fans and whatnot again. You know that it's a good thing that they're playing there in Pittsburgh, because if this was anywhere else, that you'd have droves of fans screaming out that government name. But for him, lucky enough, he's going to be playing at home and is going to have a bit more of a favorable crowd. Either way, you look at what your Browns and your Browns defense, another very formidable defense, did to this Steelers team as far as roughing up Aaron Rodgers in the pass game, making them completely change their game plan. The Houston Texans are going to be able to accomplish that same sort of effort. This is not a good passing matchup for the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers is going to have to get the ball out quick. Now, lucky for them, they have been a very short pass game type of offense. But I think that the Houston Texans defense is going to be able to make the Steelers a lot more one-dimensional. They're going to force them to try to run the ball, to try to run a short passing game. And on the other side, the Houston offense does have some really good receivers. Woody Marks has had a decent year, not a guy that necessarily you want as a full-time back, but they have a little bit more oomph than your Cleveland Browns did on offense. I like the Texans this game. I'm going to be going with Houston on the money line to win this one. I think that defense is going to be the big reason why Houston is able to win this game.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be all about the defense. DK is going to be matched up with Stingley. I would not be surprised if Stingley follows his ass around. Because that's where their offense is going to come from. Unless they find a way to run the ball against that Texans defense, which I think you're going to have a really hard time fucking doing as well. The defense is going to win the day for the Texans. I don't see it going any other way. So I'm dropping the points, but my man, with that takes care of super wild card weekend bets. But we got one more bet. We actually got a little bit of a late jump today. Blitz was fucking running around going ballistic, acting crazy as hell. And you'll see that when you see his bet, because shit got crazy.
Yeah. After watching the college football playoffs and stuff like that, Blitz got a little bit on a tear. It's almost like, you give catnip to a cat. Football, the Blitz gets him going, gets him kind of wilding. And so Blitz put out a huge bet for this one. Blitz's big bet coming to you on the wild card weekend is the BTA wild card edition of Blitz's big bet. He's bringing that belt to ass. He's got 4 lines instead of his normal 3 lines for you, and it's a massive one here. We got Blake Corum going over 44.5 rushing yards, something that he has accomplished in pretty much every game for the second half of this season. He has been a big, valuable part of the run game for that Rams team. So him going over 44.5, which I believe he's been averaging at a minimum 40 yards over the season at -112 odds. A nice little piece there.
And
DeAndre Swift.
Team.
Yeah. DeAndre Swift getting over 76.5 rushing and receiving yards in a game that's expected to be heavy on the ground because of the winds and the cold. You know that they're going to be feeding DeAndre Swift the ball there, but he gets it in the air just as much as he gets it on the ground. So 76.5 there, exceeding what he normally does on the year as well at -114 odds. Josh Allen putting on that Superman cape, getting over 271.5 passing and rushing yards, because you know that he's going to have to put that team on his back and probably be running around a little bit. A Josh Allen anytime touchdown is probably a good pick as well. But in this one, -114 odds for Josh Allen there, and then DK Metcalf with him coming back into the fold. You know that they are going to be trying to get him the ball. If the Steelers are able to get into the red zone, he is a common target for them to try to feed the ball to, because he is such a big receiving target. Without Washington at tight end in that game. He's their biggest target that they have. So you can expect them to try to force feed the ball to him a little bit. Plus 220 odds there for a DK Metcalf anytime touchdown. That gives us plus 2,034 odds on Blitz's belt to ass wild card edition card here. A pretty big one here for Blitz, but he got a little bit wild with this one. I love Blitz there swinging that belt.
Yeah, that motherfucker running around with the belt. Yeah, hey, listen, I like this bet. I like it a lot. The DK one is, we'll see how it goes. But man, honestly, 2,000 plus 2,000, that'd be his biggest bet. And I mean, we'd be taking a little BTA to a sports book near you if we get a hit here. At least if the people follow us. But my man, that kind of wraps it up. Do we want to show the people the picks, or and then we'll go ahead and wrap this bad boy up because we got games. Actually, we got a while. They don't start till 4:30 today.
Yeah. So these are our picks for the wild card weekend. Obviously, we only got 6 games going on here. If you want to follow us, fade us, that's your choice. Now, we ended the year pretty decent. I was right there close to 60% for my hit totals for the year. Mike, a little bit lower, a little bit 54%. Pretty good overall, but look, we're looking at a condensed slate of games here. Generally, the playoffs are a little bit tougher to pick just because the teams should be a lot closer in competition. There is no tomorrow for these teams. They have to win these games, so you see them pulling out all stops, so things can get a little bit wild, a little bit loose. But obviously, a fun matchup here, one for you guys to kind of fade us, follow us, do what you want to do with these picks, or you can take Blitz's belt-to-ass bet of the week. But man, I like what we got going here. I'm super excited that we get to watch football here this evening. Going to be a fun one.
Yeah, we have a ton of football coming up over the next several weeks. Like we said at the beginning of the show, if you were not here, Evo and myself will be down at the Panini Senior Bowl at the end of January. We're going to go create some content, try to do some interviews, take a look at all these prospects, and actually get eyes on. So we won't be the guys that just say that we looked at some tape. We're going to
be producing the tape. We're going to produce that tape.
Fucking seen these guys. So when we say stuff, hopefully it will mean something. But my man, Todd Monken getting a head coaching interview with the Browns. Big news there. I think that was kind of foreshadowed. Once again, we should maybe just bring him over as an offensive coordinator and hire Harbaugh as the head coach if we can maybe swing that. But either way, but my man, go ahead.
We got one more thing that we want to quick talk about here at the end. Now, the All-Pro team was announced this morning. There's not a ton of interesting things on here. It's the best players in the league. This isn't votes coming from fans where it can just kind of be a name game of putting people's names out there that you like the most. These are traditionally the best players in the league. But there are a couple interesting points that we wanted to go over here real quick. One of the new positions added here. You want to go over that a little bit, Mike? This new position that was added?
Thank you for reminding me of this before we get out of here. So like you said, all pro votes are out. There is a new position, all purpose. And it's cool. But JJ Watt has made the point on X, and I went and I looked at all the votes. This all purpose position is just nobody received a vote unless they were a running back. And that doesn't make any sense. So if we want to create another award or recognition for more running backs, okay, cool. Let's do that. Like, let's add an extra running back. Who knows? But the idea that a guy like Tamiri DK that we talked about now receiving a single fucking vote when he led the entire league in all-purpose yards, and this is an all-purpose, all-pro, doesn't make any goddamn sense. So I think it's cool that there's an additional role added. But if it's only going to be used to prop up somebody like no offense to Christian McCaffrey, but Christian McCaffrey was not first or second team all-pro running back. That went to Bijan and James Cook. So if they felt like they were going to slight Christian McCaffrey for the great year he had, then they should have voted him other ways. Like, it doesn't make sense to do it like this. DK should have at least received some goddamn votes as a leading all-purpose yard guy in the NFL.
Yeah.
Go
Now,
ahead, man.
Chimere DK did get the punt returner slot. He did get voted as all-pro team as the punt returner. That being said, like when a guy between kickoffs, punt returns, and offensive play on the field as a receiver and a gadget type of guy puts up over 2,400 yards, I believe that's more fitting for that position that they created. This is for the guys who don't have a traditional spot on the team. Whereas running back, your best running backs are really good runners and receivers, and that makes sense. And that's why Bijan got the spot that he did, is because he's a huge offensive playmaker, but you're not seeing Bijan out there doing everything else. He's not returning kicks or punts or being used as a pure gadget type guy. Chimere DK absolutely is, and that's who I would have thought would have been the best person for that spot.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I thought it was interesting that they added that. I saw JJ Watt say something about only running backs, went and checked votes for sure. Yeah, only fucking running backs got it, and it doesn't make sense. But outside of that, I mean, I don't.
There was
maybe
one right or one wrong that was righted from the Pro Bowl voting. The best kicker in the league did get voted as the best place kicker on this all-pro team. Big Dick Will Reichard is your place kicker on the NFL's all-pro team, as he should be. So I'm glad to see that wrong be righted. Congratulations to Big Dick Bill.
Dick is not okay. Never mind. Are we just calling him that just because we're just saying he's got a big dick?
He's got a lot of different nicknames up in Minnesota.
Okay,
Big Leg Bill, but to me, the big leg is that dick because he's absolutely fantastic. So I'm super stoked for the guy. Hide your kids, hide your wife, because Big Dick Bill is on the All-Pro team, and he's susceptible to get all of them pregnant, including the men, if you leave them out around too long.
Listen, when there's something spread, he likes to go right in between there, baby.
Yeah, and he don't miss.
He don't miss. Oh, wow. What a great way to end Raw Dog Sports. Everybody, thank you very much for tuning in. Evo, it's been a pleasure. Everybody who did tune in, thank you very much. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. So anytime that you give some of it to us, we are forever grateful. We hope that you continue to come back and give us some more of your time. With that, I'm going to give my man Evo one last word, and then we're going to get the fuck out of here until Tuesday when we recap all of these games and take a look at what else is going on around the league, because I'm sure there will be some additional movement. My man Evo, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to take another moment. Thank everyone for following us, for watching our show today, for giving us thoughts. Again, we're going out to the Senior Bowl. Let us know what you want to see out of that Senior Bowl, what sort of content we can bring to you, because while it's going to be fun and entertaining for us, we want to bring the people what we can. We know that not everyone has the opportunity to go out and make these sorts of trips and see these sorts of things. So we want to be able to branch between the fans and the media as much as possible. You only get what ESPNs and things like that want to put out from these Senior Bowls. We are your ability to see what you want to see, talk to the people you want to talk to, things like that while we're out there. So for everyone who's been here watching us, everything, we appreciate you. Please take a second, like, share, and subscribe to our channels. Check us out on the TikToks if you can. Try to boost us up there, because we're trying to get on all the social media platforms as much as possible and reach out to everybody. But thank you, everybody, for watching. We appreciate you. And get ready for some Super Wildcard Weekend football. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, well said, my man. I don't have anything else to add. Guys, thank you very much. I am Mike. That is Evo. This is Raw Dog Sports. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. See you.